In this episode, we're going to be fixing a common issue with the A-Class. We're also going to be talking about what it's like owning one and how much that 2-year maintenance cost was. If you're new to the channel, I'm trying to document while trying to make owning fun European cars affordable, as well as show you guys an unfiltered look at how much it is to maintain them. Because let's be honest, we all know that these cars can be a bit expensive to run. The issue we have right now is a fuel leak. This is a high pressure fuel pump and this is the hose that's leaking. Driving with a fuel leak can be a hazard normally, but I did try tightening it and it hasn't leaked fuel in the last 3 days. But that's not a proper solution, so we're gonna still change it. So now we're heading to Soon Heng Motor Supply, which is in Klang. It's a Mercedes parts store and it's gonna be an hour drive. I was gonna drive the E46, but the clutch started acting up, and because the clutch fluid's leaking, we're gonna be sorting that next video. And I'm honestly not sure if you guys want more A-Class videos, but if you guys do leave a like or comment what you want to see next. Engaging with the video really helps me out and pushes me to make more videos here. We're also gonna be talking about the driving experience of the car in the later half of the video, and then talk about the 2-year ownership cost. Alright, I don't know if you can see that, but that's some Volvo limo. I'm not sure what model that is, so if you guys know what it is, do let me know. After an hour, we finally made it. The parts were 65 ringgit cheaper here than the other shops I messaged, and once we picked it up, we headed back home. I know it says Melee, but it's just a box. This is what the parts look like. It's the hose and the 2 clamps. I don't know if you can reuse the old ones, so I just bought new ones just in case. The hose was 85 ringgit and the clamps were 25 each. And now it was time to fix it. You do need a specific plier that can open this clamp, but I just used the one from my E46 and just hope for the best. And to remove the clamps, you just have to pry this thing off of this ledge. I put a towel underneath the hose first because there will be fuel leaking out once I open it. The clip wasn't opening with my tool, but I somehow got it loose and pulled it out. It actually took me a lot longer than you think. For the second one at the back, I managed to open the clip using a screwdriver first. This one took longer because it's harder to reach, but eventually we got it. After that, it was just a process of putting the hose back in and put the clamps on. And I know that sounds easy, but putting the clamps on was just as hard because every time I was trying to pull the 2 tabs together, it would just not catch onto the ledge. I did the same for the back, but overall it was a pretty easy fix. And after putting the cover back on, we were done. And after I drove it for another few days, it didn't leak anymore. Before the W176, there was the W169 and the 168 before that, which was the first gen A-Class, and it was known to be the ugliest Mercedes out there. What I find it funny is how they kept emphasizing the agility and how epic it is in these ads, but then it becomes a meme for failing the moose test and nearly flipping. And let's just say it wasn't a well-received car. And at this point, it might seem like I'm hating on the car, but I actually really like it. Like, can you imagine how cool I would look driving down these canyons? Actually, they did have a cooler model, but for Mika Hakkinen. This is when he won his first F1 championship. It made 250 horsepower with 2 1.9 liter engines, and it had a 0 to 100 in 5.7 seconds. And after that, they made another abomination with the W169, and it was the last of its kind. But then in late 2012, they came out with the W176, and they changed everything. This exact A-Class being an A250, it comes with a 2-liter engine that produces 211 horsepower and 350 Newton meters of torque. And in a chassis like this, it is pretty quick. This car has the M270 engine, which is a pretty reliable engine actually. I haven't really had any major issues with this. It's only like normal wear and tear. It also doesn't burn oil and isn't really known for it either. The ones with the AMG Sport Package / AMG line, you get these red accents across the car. You get all the red stitching in the car. It comes with the AMG front bumper, rear bumper, side skirts, and also the spoiler. This does have a beefier suspension, meaning it's stiffer and it handles better. I mean, to an extent, you do need a stiff suspension for good handling, but I think this takes it a bit too far. A few days ago, I drove the Audi TTS that did have the mag race suspension where you can opt for the softer or the stiffer setting. In both the settings, it was a lot more comfortable than this car. With this car, even on the straightest roads, you feel all the bumps. If I'm driving in a highway and there's a lot of elevations and undulations, you're gonna feel that, and it gets really sickening over 40 minutes. Obviously, that means you have to look at aftermarket options. When it comes to driving ergonomics, this seat is pretty nice. It hugs you pretty well around corners. This car, you do get lumbar support, so you can adjust that electronically to your liking. I think having the DCT really makes this car come alive. Shifts really nicely. It feels very refined. Like any DCT, you have to expect a little bit of hesitation and jerkiness at low speeds, but when you get up to speed, it is very smooth and very quick. With a lot of cars, I never find myself using the pedals, but with this one, I actually use it pretty often, because when it's on automatic mode and I would really want to accelerate, I don't really feel like pressing it too hard to get up to speed. I can just quickly drop the gears. Being a DCT, it's very quick. And when I'm done, I just hold the upshift for like 2 seconds and it goes back to automatic without having to like really wait for it. So it is very usable. You get that nice Mercedes sound insulation, so even if you're driving at like 200 kilometers an hour, there's very minimal road noise and wind noise. You get this beautiful interior. The only complaint I would have is this small screen on this spec. You do have a larger 8-inch screen, but I think you have to option that. You get soft touch all across the top side of the car. When you really start feeling the lower end of it, that's when the hard plastics show up, and you kind of have to rest your legs on this hard plastic, and it is a bit uncomfortable, but yeah, I'm just nitpicking. But would I recommend this car to anyone? Absolutely, because it depreciated so much. I think you can pick one up from 55 to 65,000 ringgit. Back when we got this car, it was around 80 to 90,000. So it is a good bargain if you're in the market for a hot hatch and you want an alternative to the Golf GTI. I think this is a solid car. Obviously with a Mercedes, you are gonna spend a little bit more on maintenance than a Golf GTI. So let's take a look at how much I've spent on maintenance on this car. 6-liter fully synthetic engine oil is 420 ringgit. The oil filter is 30 to 80 ringgit. I didn't want to cheap out on this. And we had a total of 4 oil changes so far in 2 years, making it 2040 ringgit. We changed the front brake pads for 350 ringgit, 670 for the discs, 60 for the brake wear sensor, and the labor was 180. The oil filter housing was 580 and the labor was 480. This wasn't in my usual workshop, so it did cost a bit more for labor. Then we changed the water pump for 750 ringgit, but it can cost up to 1.1k depending on the brand. The fan belt was 100. Expansion tank hose was 195, 145 for another coolant hose as well, 420 ringgit for the intake manifold, 250 ringgit for an oil breather hose, 3 O-rings for 30 ringgit, and the labor was 380. Next we changed the left wheel speed sensor for 225 and 150 ringgit labor. This is also a very common issue. Normally when you have this issue, you're gonna have a Christmas light on your dash with the ABS and traction control. Next we changed the left lower arm, which was 950 ringgit, but you can also get it a bit cheaper. It was 370 for the stabilizer links and the labor was 250. The high pressure fuel pump hose was 85 ringgit and the 2 clamps combined were 50. For tires, we got new Continental MC7 235/40/18 tires from a sponsorship, which is worth around 3,200 ringgit. We also did get the thermostat changed for free from the dealer when getting the car, but for now the total is 8,710 ringgit, which is $2,200. This is excluding the tires, but keep in mind if you live in the US, the labor cost will be a lot higher. I assume a few $1,000s more. And if you want more videos like this, do leave a like. It really helps the channel and allows me to make more videos like this, and I can't thank you guys enough for watching the full video, and if you enjoyed, why not subscribe?